Welcome to Wednesday, the 23rd day of October 2024. This day with the podcast brought to you by Converse County Tourism. Douglas and Glen Rock, Wyoming are bustling with action this holiday season. Plan your excursion, including fun activities, beautiful downtowns, and historic treasures. Learn more at conversecountytourism.com. Well, got some cloud photos to show you when we start to get these lenticular clouds. Boy, sunrises and sunsets can be nice. You have to put up with the wind as we get into these lenticular clouds, and wind is going to be a factor today and especially tomorrow. Tomorrow in particular, quite windy in some areas as we have a small little wave coming from the Pacific Northwest. This is going to be on the heels of a small one that passed through the region yesterday. So there's going to be a little bit of weather with it. Montana, Idaho, northern and western Wyoming will see some rain and snow showers. Windy conditions on the southern edge of the system. Now, between Friday and Sunday, there's not much going on. So it's going to be another nice fall weekend. Pretty decent weather across the Intermountain West. Changes, though, are coming next week. We have a stronger storm system that's going to push into the Pacific Northwest as early as Sunday. It'll be beginning to reach areas west of the divide by Monday afternoon and evening. So by Monday, areas of rain and snow will be breaking out across far western Wyoming, eastern Idaho, western Montana, getting into maybe northern sections of Utah. And then that system will push through all of the Intermountain West and into the western high plains by Wednesday, by late Tuesday into Wednesday. That's going to be followed by another wave right behind it, coming in Halloween Thursday or maybe holding off until Friday. Somewhere in that Thursday, Friday time range, another strong front will come through. So both of those systems next week will really change things in terms of making it more persistently colder, more unsettled, and more like it should be for this time of year. Nice cloud formation there in Hugo, Colorado, and also near Gillette, Wyoming, with these high and mid-level clouds coming on in with some of that Pacific moisture and the strengthening jet stream winds, which we'll talk about here in a moment. The satellite photos this morning, really not terribly impressive, but this is a little bit of a wave. There is some moisture and instability with this low. It's going to be moving through Oregon today into Idaho, and then tonight and tomorrow it's going to track just like this. So along its path, it will be producing some areas of showers. Along and north of its path, south of its path, there will be some strong gusty winds. Now, let's take a look at what temperatures have been doing. We all know it has been exceedingly warm, and this is the last 90-day. This is the 90-day temperature anomaly of the average temperature. The average temperature is when you take the high temperature, the low temperature, you put them together, you divide by 2, then compare that to the 30-year average. So the last 90 days, you can see the Intermountain West, the plains, into central Canada, that very, very warm, well above average. If you look, this is in Fahrenheit. You're looking at anywhere between 9 degrees above average Fahrenheit through the last 90 days. If you were to look since the year to date, now year to date, it's warmer than average, but more around 2 or 3 degrees in this area right here. And you can see Canada very warm, but the lower 48, generally speaking, it's been warmer than normal, as you would expect, since January 1st. In contrast to a year ago, weather memories tend to be very short. In 2023, most of the West had a colder than average 2023, while it was warmer in the nation's midsection. So we'll see how the rest of the year pans out as we go into November and December and see what those temperatures do. Precipitation-wise, as we all know, it has been so dry. This is the last 90 days of precipitation. Anywhere you see red or brown, you're going to have much below average precipitation. You can see that there's some very dry areas in the United States and really not many wet areas. Southeast from the hurricanes, obviously, but the last 90 days for most of the United States, with the exception of the Southeast, has been hotter and drier than average. As we go into the day ahead, there's the wave coming in off the coast of Oregon today. There's where it's going to be by tomorrow morning, zipping right through the area very, very quickly. This is the path it will take where the precipitation will fall. Nothing to write home about. This is not going to add up to much, but there's going to be a little bit of light snow in the mountains, going to be a little bit of shower activity on the plains as it streaks through. but it's not going to muster a lot. But it will produce a little bit of weather. So hunters, keep that in mind in the high country of western and northern Wyoming and back here across Idaho and eastern Oregon where these showers are going to be. This is what the snowfall looks like along its path. Again, very little, but a little bit. We'll take whatever we can get. Here's the wind, and most of this is coming tomorrow. So across Nebraska, South Dakota, Wyoming, parts of northern Colorado, then back here across portions of northern Nevada, southern Idaho, going to be pretty windy. So you can see it along the Interstate 80 corridor, plenty of wind on Thursday as that wave goes on by. Then after that wave goes by, things begin to change. Now what I want to do here, before we get into the extended part of the forecast, what I'm showing you here is the North Pacific and the jet stream winds around 30,000 feet. This goes through a 15-day period. So to get your reference, up here is Alaska right here. Here's British Columbia, here's the west coast of the United States, here's Japan up to Korea. What I want you to note as we get to the beginning here, notice you see a lot more color. You see more reds and yellows. The jet stream across the North Pacific is really strengthening over the next 15 days. And we'll show you this during the cold season a lot of times, what's going on in the North Pacific, because that is sort of a bellwether to what's going to end up coming into the western United States later. So we haven't seen this fall to where first we get a straight line, strong jet stream, and then it begins to buckle a little bit more. And that's when you start getting the higher frequency of storms and frontal systems that'll come across the North Pacific, then into western North America. So over time, as we get into next week, especially into the first week of November, especially on that last frame there, you can really see a very strong jet stream wind going across the Pacific. What you're seeing here is the beginnings of the winter pattern right there. And we're going to see that evolve as we go forward. By Sunday morning, the next deeper trough, which is a lot more put together and larger than what we're dealing with now, is going to start sliding down the coast of British Columbia right towards the Pacific Northwest. That Sunday morning, about ahead of the system, southwest flow will mean warmer than average conditions, getting air coming out of the deserts, getting pushed into the area. So as we get into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's going to be quite warm there while it's going to be getting colder in the Pacific Northwest. By Monday morning, the system pushes in. So by Monday morning, along and west of this black line here, rain and snow will be falling. So getting into areas along and west of the divide by the day Monday. By Monday night and Tuesday, the system will slide further south and east into the region. Behind it, this is by 6 p.m. Monday. By 6 p.m. Monday, that line there represents where the cold front's going to be. Cold air is going to be coming in behind the storm system and bleeding over the divide late in the day Monday. By Wednesday morning, the main frontal system is going to be right along and just east of the divide, and here's the next one coming in behind it. Look at the packing of the black lines here. These are very strong winds aloft that will want to take this low southeast right behind this one. So this is the secondary system that comes in next Thursday and Friday. By Tuesday afternoon, colder air spreads out into the plains, both sides of the divide, and it gets quite cold relative to average across parts of the Great Basin here. So you're going to be getting into mountain snow, even lower elevation snow in that deeper, colder air into the Great Basin states and west of the divide by Monday night into Tuesday. By Halloween Thursday, this is noon Halloween Thursday, the next low is going to want to settle on in, and it's going to follow the same path as the one before it. And notice the high pressure ridge building in behind it, helping to drive that south and east. So we're going to have a lot more weather in the west next week. So stay tuned and we'll keep you updated as we get closer and we can get you into more details in terms of temperature and precipitation chances. Have yourself a good Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow.